Warren Chiropractic Center, and I can tell you that we have helped thousands of people become pain-free. And I want to help you experience pain relief and better health. And did you realize most insurance companies cover chiropractic care? So it's a great time to check into those benefits before the year ends. At Warren Chiropractic in Osceola, we will work hard for you to find a solution that will work towards fixing your problems and not just covering up the symptoms. The choice is clear. Warren Chiropractic Center in Osceola. Christian values that you respect, quality care that you believe in. Visit us online at warrenchiro.com or call us today at 574-679-0100.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Casey Hendrickson from the Mid-States Construction Studio. Mid-States Construction, one of the nation's leading authorized builders of new core building systems. On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send me a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I do want to let everybody know that we are live streaming. If you go to the live stream, youtube.com/Casey the host or facebook.com/Casey the host. You can go ahead and join in the live stream. Check out the videos. Go ahead and interact with the live chat on both Facebook and YouTube. Tactical Training Systems is going to be holding a basic pistol class on Sunday, January 20th from 12 to 4 p.m. That is going to be at Second Amendment Arms and Range. Get $125 per student. So if you are looking to have a basic pistol class, that is the class to go take. Go to secondamendmentarms.net to learn more information about that. Big news over the weekend. Brianna Rushling was, unfortunately, her body was found in Mishawaka, and they've now arrested a Mishawaka high school, I believe, football player, and he has been arrested in connection with this. She was 6 months pregnant, her parents revealed over the weekend. This story is at 953mnc.com. The body of a teenage girl was discovered behind a restaurant at Patel and Division Streets of Mishawaka. St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Unit was called to the area around 9 a.m. on Sunday. The county coroner arrived on the scene at 11 a.m. Rushling was 6 months pregnant and a junior at Mishawaka High School, according to her father and her stepmother. A suspect, Aaron Trejo, 16, was placed under arrest on a preliminary charge of murder, was taken to the St. Joseph County Jail. He is expected to be formally charged as an adult at some point today. Did that happen yet? Do we know? Not as far as we know yet. Okay, so at some point today, he's supposed to be formally charged as an adult. Rushling and Trejo knew each other through the football team. I heard that she was a former cheerleader, and obviously he's a player. Trejo was a junior running back for the Mishawaka Cavemen, according to Max Preps. The restaurant, and I know that everybody kind of knows what the restaurant is, but here's the thing. I'm going to get away from saying who they are because they have no connection to this. And it has nothing to do with them whatsoever. And, you know, it's press, frankly, that the restaurant doesn't deserve or need. So if it slips out, it slips out. If it doesn't slip out, you know, just know I'm intentionally kind of trying to avoid it because there is no connection with the restaurant that has, you know, and the authorities have been trying to make this crystal clear as well, that the restaurant's not involved here. It's just pure coincidence that this is where her body was found. So anyway, the restaurant had nothing to do or any relation with the victim or the suspect. Investigators described it simply as a location of opportunity. Rusling was last seen by family members around midnight. Mishawaka police were called to the family around 4:30 a.m. to report her as missing. Then they found evidence of a possible violent crime while conducting their search. Ultimately found her body in the dumpster. So horrible situation. Couldn't possibly imagine going through anything like this. But there's some assumptions floating around about this as a result of the pregnancy and things of that nature. But just, the investigation is ongoing. As soon as we learn more, if the formal charge comes through during the program, we'll let you know, and we'll continue to keep you updated on all of this. But again, just a horrible situation. Heart absolutely goes out to the family. It's off both families, actually. I can only imagine what his family is now going through as well. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. Once again, you can send a text message to 45364, and please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Real quick, just kind of a kicker topic, and the only reason I'm really bringing this up is I mentioned a story last week where a Canadian woman had been banned from Twitter, and she had been banned from Twitter because she violated Pakistani law. And for those of you who listened to the show last week and you heard that, well, there's another case of it happening to another Canadian, this time a newspaper editor. On Friday, he was told by Twitter that he was in violation of Pakistan's blasphemy law for a tweet that he sent years ago after the Charlie Hebdo killings. That's where radical jihadists killed people at the Charlie Hebdo headquarters because they had published Muhammad cartoons. He had posted, as did many of us in the media and elsewhere, had posted images of Muhammad onto social media just to prove to everybody that, hey, we're not going to be intimidated. We're a free society. We have free speech, that sort of thing. And so Twitter sends him this message on Friday, and he thought it was spam, he says. So he wrote a whole column about it. He's with the Toronto Sun. He is the opinion page's editor, Anthony Fury. And so on Saturday's column, he said, I thought it was spam. The email that hit my inbox Friday morning had the subject line, Twitter receipt of correspondence, and the sender was Twitter legal. He was told that Twitter was taking this opportunity to inform him that it had received official correspondence regarding his Twitter account. And Twitter then passed on word from Pakistan that he was in violation of Section 37 of the PECA-2016 Section 295B and Section 295C of the Pakistan Penal Code. So this is blasphemy law in Pakistan. And basically what had happened is Pakistan had filed an official complaint that he was in violation of their law. He's a Canadian in Canada. That he violated Pakistani law several years ago when he tweeted out pictures of Muhammad. And this, you go back last week to the woman whose husband is being held prisoner, I think, in Iran. And she tweeted out some stuff, and Twitter actually took her down. Twitter took her down and said that she had violated Pakistani law. They finally reinstated her. But now you've got a newspaper editor in Canada getting the same exact message from Twitter. So at some point, I guess people are going to have to ask why it is that Twitter is running around enforcing Pakistani law with Westerners who are not in Pakistan, with whom the law does not apply. After some research, Fury concluded that the Pakistani law in question was a blasphemy law that the overwhelmingly Muslim country upholds. Negative comments on the Quran can yield a lifetime in Pakistani prison. Blasphemy against the Muslim prophet Muhammad can mean death penalty. In 2017, a Pakistani man was sentenced to death for a blasphemous statement on Facebook. Fury checked out the tweet that had landed him in hot water. He says, I clicked on the link. As you know, Twitter sends it to you, and they basically say, this is the one that is the problem. It didn't redirect any dubious website. Instead, it pulled up a tweet that I had made several years ago when I had posted a collage of cartoons of Muhammad. Looking back, I remember I did it right after there had been an ISIS-inspired attack in retaliation over the cartoons. So Fury told the Daily Caller on Sunday that the incident is hard to believe, that he would be put on a foreign blacklist or that Twitter would pass on the message in this manner. He says it all sounds so absurd, then again, so do the very real stories of Asia Bibi and Raif Badawi, like with the Salman Rushdie affair. You never know what it is that's going to set something off. So anyway, he says it's alarming that Twitter is sending out these notices, but then again, I'm at least glad to have been given the heads up that I made it onto some sort of Pakistan government list. There goes my summer vacation to Islamabad. So Twitter's response to this was that they kept in with the company policies here. So Fury discovered on Twitter's legal frequently asked questions page that, quote, Twitter may notify you of the existence of a legal request pertaining to your account. We understand that receiving this type of notice can be an unsettling experience. We have notified you so that you can avail yourself of the rights available for your particular situation in your specific jurisdiction. So Twitter's position is, we're not going to do anything to you. We're just letting you know that the Pakistanis got you on their radar, and you could take any appropriate precautions as necessary. Now, if we didn't have last week's history of them actually taking a Canadian woman's Twitter down because she had violated Pakistani law by posting from Canada about things dealing with the Muslim faith, then you might be, well, Twitter's just trying to make sure that everybody, knows that they're going to be wanted people if they step into Pakistan. But that's not how it read last week. And perhaps this week they would have done the same thing had they not run into the problems they had with that woman last week. Or perhaps they knew that he was a newspaper editor and they went a little softer on the guy. I don't know. In either case, it's a very strange thing that has been happening over at Twitter for the past couple of weeks, that they have been notifying Westerners that they've been violating Pakistani law, in particular Canadians. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. More coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
KC Hendrickson, Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
Top of the right circle.
Good. I can only talk for a minute because I'm in a commercial break. What's up? Yeah, as of Saturday night, 101.9. Okay, okay.
If you're not hearing Nathan, make sure you don't have the video muted.
95.3 Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Advance your degree and engage your future. Don't miss out. At Bethel College, you can earn your MBA in as little as 1 year while still working full-time. Each class is 1 night a week, and you can finish courses in just 7 weeks. The professors are experts in their fields and have real-world experience to share. At Bethel College, there are 6 start dates a year, and the next one is just around the corner. Apply today at bethelcollege.edu/mymba and start classes January 14th. Why Bethel? Bethel College ranks among the top 10 schools in the Midwest for the value. The MBA program is for Michiana leaders and taught by Michiana leaders. The flexible class schedules are designed to accommodate your busy life. With 97% of all students receiving some form of financial aid, 6 start dates throughout the year, and only 70 sessions, you can save money and reach your goals faster. In fact, Washington Monthly ranks Bethel College as best bang for your buck. What are you waiting for? The deadline to enroll for the next session is January 7th. Classes are filling up fast. Enroll on.
So how's everybody's weekend?
bethelcollege.edu/mymba.
Suppose I got to get this all fixed up.
If you're looking for a fun way to build your team for the next fiscal year, do you throw a potluck event in the office or sit down for a steak dinner? Tell Barbara from Finance she can save the casserole dish for another time because you've got an exciting adventure for your staff. Book your corporate event with Locked Up Escape Room Experience on University Drive at Mishawaka. It's the newest, most exhilarating, and most interactive escape room in the area. With all the
They're in the mail, Rhonda.
The success of your
So,
can often
they should be there any day.
Members are able to cooperate across projects and everyday tasks.
It went out last week.
Locked Up Mishawaka for an awesome team building experience that will have a positive impact on your company. Increase productivity, improving communication, developing problem solving skills, and keeping your employees motivated.
Nice,
Plus,
Brian.
A great picture with your team to put up in the office. Book the best party you can throw for your group at Locked Up Mishawaka. Go to lockeduplive.com and click the locations tab.
Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, they went out, so.
My name's Dave Titus with International RV in Elkhart, Indiana. You know, one of the things that we see people that are really concerned with is whether they can actually afford an RV or not. They see these big things going down the road, and oh my gosh,
I have had instances sometimes where the mail that's coming in the same state actually goes out and then comes back. So I don't, whatever they're doing with it.
Taking that stroll on the beach, or having that private weekend that it really didn't cost you hardly any money, but you had a great time. My salespeople will spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out.
So, Mom, I wanted to chat with you.
Where they're wanting to go.
Did you still want me to send all of that stuff since your plans have now changed, or what? I figured you might, but I just wanted to hold off until I was able to talk to you, and I figured I'd talk to you today.
That's what it is. We don't play all the typical used car salesman games. I said we do it right. Find us 2 miles north of the bypass on Highway 19 in Elkhart, or at internationalrvwholesalers.net.
The most successful teams always have a game plan, so it makes sense that
okay, I'll send everything. I'll send everything out.
With a written strategy and a professional to help keep you on track, you're one step closer to your own winning retirement. At Howard Bailey, that's what we do. Call now to schedule a complimentary visit with a certified financial planner and let Howard Bailey help you retire with purpose. 800-213-6383, 800-213-6383.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Hi, this is Bill from the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. From our Prime Table family to yours, we would like to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We hope you enjoy this Christmas season with your family and friends. Thank you so much for visiting us at the Prime Table this past year, and we look forward to serving you more of our enjoyable and delicious food in the new year. From all of us at the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles,
Merry Christmas, everybody!
And a Happy New Year.
We'll catch up one final time this year with Self-and Mayor Pete Buttigieg at 7:10 on Tuesday morning. Michiana's Morning News with me, Mark Regill, on News Talk 95.3 M&C.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3. Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95, 95.3. That is 25-95953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Do want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Okay, I got 2 stories that involve your kid's school lunch. Now, before we start this, I want to take you back in time for a couple of months ago, I guess it was, where we found out that the professor and the researcher who was responsible for the Michelle Obama Department of Agriculture changes to your kid's lunch several years ago, the Healthy Choices program, I think is what they called it, that was based on junk science. And unfortunately, we didn't know this until recently when they were able to discover that the researcher's work, I think he was at Cornell University, that the researcher's work was all fabricated. And so all of these years that we've had the terrible food at schools, the stories of schools taking kids' lunches that their parents had made for them and throwing them in the trash because a turkey sandwich wasn't healthy enough. And that's a real story that we covered, by the way, and had several like it. All of that stuff was based on junk science. This guy had fabricated everything, and they had to withdraw, I think, 3 or 4 of his research papers from the publications in the science trades, and the university had actually disavowed his work. But unfortunately, this one guy fabricating data was able to convince the Department of Agriculture to change everything around. Michelle Obama, the first lady at the time, jumps on board and endorses this thing and becomes basically the big public push and spokesperson for it. And it was all based on a lie. Now, luckily, we have that research being exposed as a lie now, which makes it a little bit easier to go ahead and rescind a lot of those things and start bringing some food back into the schools. I mean, we were seeing just countless examples of kids throwing their food away. They weren't eating it. They were posting pictures of what they were eating now as the so-called healthy alternative that they had from before. And it looked like trash is what it looked like. It looked like absolute trash. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but canned food has come a long way from when I was a kid. And occasionally I'll get some canned food. It's very rare, but occasionally I will. Now, do you remember when you were a kid and you had canned peas and it was like that brownish, flat green color? It was like olive drab color, right? It's not like that anymore. If you're getting canned peas that are still olive drab, change brands, because right now they still come out like fresh, bright grass green now. So it looks like they're frozen. You used to be able to tell the difference between canned and frozen pretty easily by the color of the food, and you can't anymore. So like I said, if you're still getting olive drab peas, it might be a sign of further things that are issues. When former First Lady Michelle Obama's strict limitations on school lunches went into effect, students across the country dumped the unappetizing offerings in the garbage. Remember, several schools actually removed themselves from the program and refused to take the subsidies because they were not having anybody buy any lunches. The debacle that cost taxpayers billions in wasted food and lunchroom sales. Students, parents, administrators, and lunch staff pleaded with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to roll back the restrictions, specific limits on everything from total calories to fat, sugar, sodium, and whole grain content. And the government created various waivers to allow schools to serve students food that they will actually eat. But again, you had to get the waiver. You had to apply for it. You had to prove you needed it. You had to get it. And let's keep in mind that this is all based on some guy's faulty, fabricated research, okay? That's where all of this comes from. Now, the Trump administration is scrapping the unnecessary bureaucracy altogether by making many of the changes permanent, effectively erasing rules that some believe unfairly targeted minorities and ignored cultural diversity. Diane Pratt-Heavner, a spokeswoman for the School Nutrition Association representing local cafeteria workers, explained to the Associated Press, whole grain bread and buns generally aren't a problem, but she said students complained about other items, and in many cases, because of cultural or regional preferences. Finding whole grain biscuits and grits that students like are a challenge in the U.S. Let's see. Tortillas are a challenge in the Southwest. The SNA reports that nearly 2 million fewer kids are eating school lunch each day since Obama-inspired rules took effect. So 2 million less kids are buying lunch at school than used to be. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, okay? But again, it was based on a lie, okay? So a lot of times parents would say, hey, look, just go get your lunch today. Maybe I don't have time to make it, or maybe it's just easier. If the kid likes the food, why not let them eat the lunch at school? Now parents are consciously saying, well, my kid's not eating, so I've got to go ahead and find something for them to eat, so I have to make it. Recent changes mean that schools no longer need a special waiver from the government for only whole grain breads, and cafeterias can now serve low-fat chocolate milk without the government's permission. Remember, they actually took chocolate milk out of the schools. Remember that? So chocolate milk was actually banned. You couldn't have chocolate milk at most schools. Students could only get fat-free flavored milk under previous rules. So now you can actually get low-fat, which most people consume. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue said Friday that the changes set to be published in a rule later this month will also give schools more time to meet aggressive sodium guidelines imposed by the Obama administration. And again, this is all based off of that one researcher, that one professor, I believe again at Cornell, whose research has now been disavowed and unpublished because it was fabricated. So if you go to Independent Women's Forum, Julie Gunlock, I haven't had her on the show in a while. It's probably time to give her a call. Let's see. The Trump administration is being criticized for rolling back some of the school lunch reforms passed in 2010. The Washington Post offered this inaccurate headline: more salt and less whole grain allowed, which isn't true. Schools are still allowed to serve as many whole grains as they wish. They just won't be required to serve all whole grains. Huge difference. I know you're all shocked the Washington Post misled you in a headline. This is a much-needed compromise. School lunch officials often see patterns. Kids will eat the brown rice, but then they toss the whole wheat bun on burgers because whole wheat buns on burgers taste god-awful, and frankly, it's sacrilege. Or they might like the quinoa and hate the whole wheat tortilla shell. Have you ever had a whole wheat tortilla shell, John? Ever? You and I both lived in the Southwest. I don't think I've ever seen one. He's making visible barfing noises.
No, I've seen them.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen them. But I told my wife,
how do you even cook it?
You know, it'd be over if she ever tries that.
I don't even think you could properly cook that. Like, I don't even know how you would prepare that thing.
Yeah,
it sounds awful.
Or whole wheat tortillas do we part?
It sounds whole wheat buns on hamburgers are bad enough, but yeah, that tortilla, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, I don't even like whole wheat bread.
It's because it's gross.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ever eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on whole wheat bread?
Yeah,
Who does that?
It's gross and it's not better for you than white bread. So why bother?
Yes. Well, you don't have to get racist about it. I'm just saying, I don't like whole wheat bread.
These reforms give local school lunch officials the flexibility they deservedly need when trying to feed picky kids the food kids prefer. Now, okay, so I have EAGnews.org is the first story that I was reading from, and Independent Women's Forum is the second one. And then they got a lot of their story from the Washington Post. You notice how I have done several of these stories since the announcement of that researcher's work being revoked, or I should say unpublished. Nobody is mentioning that this guy got caught fabricating his research, and that was the entire basis of all of this program anyway. So when the Washington Post goes out there and says, "Oh, the Trump administration is trying to kill your kids with salt and sugar," no. They're rescinding stuff that had literally been proven to be fabricated and false from a previous administration who fell for it. That's it. That's all they're doing. And now kids can have low-fat chocolate milk if they want in school, something they couldn't have before in most schools. Again, there were some that had waivers, but and again, there is no requirement for them to not have whole grain. It's just that they're not required to serve nothing but whole grain. The school can now make a choice. The kids can pick what they want to eat, and the school can adjust the menu in accordance. 574-2595, 95.3. MNC News Time is 3:32. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. Michiana's news channel.
I just, that sounds so gross. So gross.
And 95.3mnc.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, it was a difficult day at Mishawaka High School today after the body of one classmate was found in a dumpster behind a restaurant.
I might replace the Facebook chat with a Discord.
The body of 17-year-old Brianna Rushling was discovered Sunday morning behind Pasquale Rui's restaurant. The location is believed to have been one of convenience. With no
the people on Facebook, they start watching like halfway through 5 o'clock. So we'll go almost the entire show with just a couple of comments on Facebook. We'll get into the last half of the 5 o'clock hour, and the Facebook comments will fill up.
School City of Mishawaka had grief counselors available at Mishawaka School throughout.
People watch live on YouTube.
And more details have been released regarding a brutal stabbing that took place outside of the Boys and Girls Club last week in Goshen.
59-year-old Jorge Lopez Chinchilla is charged with domestic battery with a deadly weapon after prosecutors say he stabbed a woman several times with a tool from a tire repair kit. The alleged
This is his real name?
as parents were picking their kids up from the club. And at least one child told police he saw the attack. The victim said she had a restraining order against Chinchilla, but it was no longer active. She told police Chinchilla broke the window of her driver's side door and began striking her as she tried to get away and climbed into the passenger seat. She said she straightened out and somebody pulled Chinchilla out of the vehicle by the legs.
That's 95.3 MNC's Darren Wright reporting. Chinchilla ran off, but police were able to follow his footprints in the snow.
I got you, Chinchilla, right here, buddy.
Fox News, I'm Rich Dennison. President Trump rejecting claims by federal prosecutors that he committed a crime by paying off a porn star who claimed to have had an affair with him, saying it was a simple financial transaction.
President Trump has previously flatly denied that he knew about the payment, but federal prosecutors now say that the president's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, acted in coordination with and at the direction of Mr. Trump when he made the payment, which would be a felony.
John Becker at the White House.
So the Washington Post article actually says the Obama administration set these rules when it was reacting to an epidemic of obesity in the United States, as well as evidence that excessive salt intake is linked to high blood pressure and other health concerns, and whole grains are more healthful than refined grains. That evidence, which has now been completely and thoroughly discredited.
Yeah. Well, and I'm on a low-carb diet, so I couldn't eat whole wheat bread if I wanted to.
No, you can't. No.
I can't eat any bread.
Weather sponsored by the Prime Table Kids. Wishing you a Merry Christmas.
Now, your home comfort Comfort Experts Heating Specialist First Warning Forecast.
Cloud cover remains intact until we get closer to the late this afternoon with a high of 36 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 23. And then throughout the day tomorrow, a good mix of sun and clouds with temperatures right around 36 for the daytime high. We're going to see, though, a chance for a wintry mix to move in Wednesday evening. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center,
Wintry mix isn't nearly as tasty as Chex Mix.
No, Chex Mix is good. What's up, Anthony? How are you, man?
Music with the Lighthouse Chorus. $10 cover charge. RSVP today. Polybags and 4 links. Locally raised meats made to order American classics like walleye, bluegill, haddock.
Yeah, Pat Miller's out today, but I opted for Matt Locke since A, I'm in charge now, and B,
short drive from anywhere in Michiana.
I really,
between the 9th and 10th holes of 4 lakes
you know, with this local story going on, I mean, it's such a big breaks in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense for Fort Wayne, and I don't want to preclude our audience from hearing it.
American food great again.
Right use of the word preclude.
Gold Bond salutes all you fixers out there. Fixers of wobbly chairs, squeaky stairs, drippy faucets. Folks who can fix just about anything, except dry, cracked hands. Whoa, that's bad. Man. Say hello to Gold Bond Cracked Skin Cream. More than a lotion, it precisely fills, soothes, and protects rough, cracked fingers and knuckles. 91% said cracked skin felt smoother in one day. Yep, feeling good. Gold Bond Cracked Skin Cream. Find it in First Aid at Walgreens.
The closing farm markets, powered by Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment, where hard work comes to get done. Visit them in South Bend and Wakarusa for a versatile tractor.
This is Who's Your Ag Today and the Monday closing farm market report. And the farm markets, like most commodities, sold off to open up the week. This update is brought to you by IOM Grain. Buying high-quality, non-GMO food-grade soybeans, they ensure you have the best varieties to keep your yields competitive and get a premium on all bushels. IOMgrain.com. Grain markets, like other commodities, weak. Corn did work both sides, but finished down. March 3.84, down a penny and a half. May 3.91 1/4, and July 3.97 3/4, both down a penny and a half. January beans led the way down, 9.09 3/4, 7 cents lower. March 9.22 3/4, off 6 1/4. March wheat 5.25 1/4, 6 points lower. As the trade gets set for the December supply and demand numbers, noon Eastern time on Tuesday. February live cattle 120.20, down 32 cents. February hog futures 66.82, down over $1. I'm Andy Eubank. Who's Your Ag Today? Indiana's Farm Network.
Your local versatile dealer, Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment in Wakarusa, has
I
the
keep
new
wondering
versatile
if this
MFWD tractor in stock.
suspect in
The
the
versatile MFWD has a new style for better visibility and maximum infield performance. Available with 265 through 365 engine horsepower. The versatile MFWD
You've got that, and then does it impact more members of the football team?
Right.
You've got, is he the father? You've got all sorts of things that...
Yeah. And... So, I don't know, we're not reporting rumors, but, you know, apparently word on the street is it was kind of a brutal scene, which tells me...
Well, and they found evidence elsewhere, too.
Yeah, which tells me it was a very...
It was ugly.
Possibly bloody scene.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a stabbing, a shooting, or both. That question was asked during the news conference yesterday, and they would not answer.
Yeah,
we'll find out with the autopsy.
They're not answering a lot.
And, you know, and then there's the whole, if she was 6 months pregnant, which the parents said she was, so there's really no reason to think she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, will there be an additional charge because of that? But
yep.
I really keep wondering. I mean, I think this kid was 5'10". Can he hoist her over a dumpster?
He's a football player.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean, he looks like
she's a cheerleader. He's a football player.
Right.
But he's a running back. I mean, so he's going to have lower body strength.
Okay.
I mean, I would assume he could.
Something tells me that this may not be the only person who's going to face some sort of charge.
I mean, it isn't that difficult to get somebody in a dumpster. I mean, it's not like he has to pick her up and bench press her over his head, you know?
Yeah. But you know how kids are. I mean,
yes.
Tell anyone that was.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've got friends with kids who play for that football team, so everybody's a little on edge right now.
It's already here. Hey, when does your classes end this semester?
Tomorrow.
Oh, and then after that, you'll be able to be here at 3.
Should be until.
All right. Wow, you sound like you have a cold. Do you have a cold? You can't call in sick because I am gone Thursday and Friday this week. Thursday and Friday. I am out of town. I'm in Fort Wayne working. They're having a radiothon, so they really, really need me there. Okay. It's just a cold.
Yeah, we hope. This is what my mom has.
You're better than your mother. And she would hope that too, because it's always a parent's hope that their child is a better version of themselves. All right, I'll leave you alone. It is good to see you. I was on the IUSB campus over the weekend because I dropped my daughter off for the ACT test. You're thrilled, I can tell.
I never took the ACT.
Oh, did you take the SAT?
You have to.
Well, yeah.
You have to take one or the other.
Well, she did the SAT also, but then she took the ACT.
I took the SAT. Took it at your home campus.
I gotcha.
One of the nation's leading authorized builders of new core building systems. On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station. Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I do want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle, Indiana. 10 dedicated shooting lanes, rifle and pistol. And if you mention me, you will get half off your range time, 10% off in the store, listener-exclusive discounts on firearms. And, of course, they have gift accounts, so you never have to worry about losing a gift card or a gift certificate ever again. Go to secondamendmentarms.net to learn more about that. All right. Here, folks, I don't understand the desire to go back to the way that we did things when we all died of fever and syphilis and all of that stuff. But that's exactly what many people are looking at doing. So shipping is really important to the global economy. In case you didn't know, trucking obviously very important for getting items in the country, sometimes internationally. But shipping is how most of our goods are shipped to other countries, shipped from other countries. And shipping companies are considering a modern version of a centuries-old concept to power tankers, essential for international trade and travel. Now, again, this is according to the Washington Post, who I was just telling you wrote an entire article about how evil the Trump administration is by trying to rescind the Obama administration's lunch standards in spite of the fact that the research that those lunch standards were based on have been retracted because 4 research papers were associated with the one guy who came up with that research have been found to have been fabricated, and even Cornell University disavowed his research. And that was the entire impetus for changing the school lunch program back in, was it 2010, I think it was, when they started making those changes. So now they're rolling back. Of course, the article in the Washington Post does not mention that the guy who wrote the research that the Department of Agriculture and Michelle Obama used to push that program had been retracted, but I digress. Tech companies are pitching rotor sails, which look like spinning columns, to shipping companies who are beginning to test the motors on select ships. When enough wind is present, the columns spin and help propel the ship through water through the Magnus effect, which uses drag and lift to create force. It's an old technology, Norse Power CEO Thomas Risky told the Washington Post. German physicist H.G. Magnus discovered the Magnus effect in 1853. Our vision is that sails are coming back to the sea. They're literally talking about putting sails back on shipping vessels because of climate change. So the shipping industry is turning the rotor sails and other technologies to cut its carbon footprint, combat climate change. Shipping companies have been looking for more fuel-efficient technologies and improvements for decades, the nuclear reactor, but I digress. But the search has taken on a new urgency since the United Nations said all ocean traffic must switch to low-sulfur diesel fuel. The UN's International Maritime Organization made the ruling in 2016. After implementation, the rule will cut shippers' access to fuel in the short and midterm by forcing half the world's refineries to close down because they are not equipped to produce the type of fuel demanded, according to Philip K. Verliger, a senior advisor at the Brattle Group. UN rule may cause the price of oil to skyrocket to $200 to $400 a barrel in 2020. So you keep your eye on that. So if gas starts going up in 2020, and I'm sure it'll conveniently start going up before the November election, just remember, it's not a president's fault. It's not even Congress's fault, but it's the United Nations' fault. We've got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Hendrickson, News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news at
in Elkhart, West Lexington, South Bethany accident. All the way up.
Is it on there?
Yes.
Just de-germ everything.
We'll do that.
I always get sick right before my damn vacation. Ain't gonna happen again.
All right, another shutdown. I don't know if they're just as popular as like they make them to be, or like
they haven't passed a budget in years. That's the problem. So they kick the spending bill to the end of the year when they can make a political scene out of it, and then they threaten a shutdown, which isn't a shutdown at all. In fact, the functional government that everybody needs doesn't even shut down at all. That keeps working. They only close down non-vital entities, and then they all get back pay. So it's like paid vacation, really. But they claim it's a shutdown, but it's not. Oh, come on, computer. What the hell? This thing is going so damn slow.
I don't think that's up there.
What?
They asked 100 women, what is something you buy to make your man look sexy? And then she said jewelry. Like, that's a good answer, but I don't think it's the number 3 answer. No, that's something a man buys himself.
She's probably thinking that she buys the jewelry for herself, so she looks better and therefore makes him more attractive.
Well, then she said bike, as in motorcycle. That is something a man buys himself to make himself look better.
Women rarely buy motorcycles for guys.
That's my point. I said suit.
Suit makes sense. Probably more to the point to
Not
tie.
plastic surgery either.
But the Trump administration's health department is pushing a risky experiment. It could be disastrous for your Medicare.
Manscaping.
You buy that?
Okay.
Well, you buy the implementing tools to do so, which is what an entire. I watch. So I have Hulu. I have student Hulu. So I have limited commercials, and I was watching. Well, I was watching something, and like 4 ad breaks in a row. It was a manscaping electric razor. It's a good commercial. Very funny. Called the lawnmower, and like they literally like tested it out on like this thing of grass.
That's funny.
And it's like, see, when you trim the lawn, the tree looks bigger. And I was like, that's funny. That's really nice. They sold it on Shark Tank. That's what we got.
Interesting. That's pretty funny. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. I got a traffic update in Elkhart, West Lexington, and South Napanee. There's an accident. All directions are blocked over there. So again, avoid that if you can. If you see anything else out there, please let us know. 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Traffic is driven by R&B Car Company. Locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. All right, here we go. There's a newspaper who has closed down after only a few months. And they closed down in a Missouri town, I guess it was, small Missouri newspaper. And they are blaming, not you, but they're blaming all of their readers and the public and that sort of thing for being kind of mean and immature. So the Uranus Examiner is a small Missouri newspaper whose name inspired chuckles and groans. I can't imagine why. When it launched a few months ago, it's now closing. The paper's editors announced the end of the publication on Friday after publishing just 5 editions in September. In statements posted on Facebook, managing editor Natalie Sanders and Louis Keene, the paper's owner and publisher, blamed a judgmental fuddy-duddy squad for the Examiner's demise. Sure. They said that many people supported the paper, but banks declined to loan it money, and many businesses wouldn't advertise in it, in part because Keene once owned a strip club. Uranus is an unincorporated tourist spot, and I'm sure they don't pronounce it that way, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. Along historic Route 66 is known for quirky attractions, including a fudge shop, the world's largest belt buckle, and others. The decision leaves Pulaski County and with no newspaper. So they've got no local newspaper now because of this. So if you think it was about the name, you would be wrong. They are saying it is purely because the person who owns it used to own a strip club. Which, by the way, is a fine, upstanding business if you run it legally and efficiently. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in a small Missouri town, word travels. And if you decide you want a newspaper, maybe you're a silent partner in that particular business and you don't have any ties to it. But so they're saying basically that nobody would advertise in this thing and all of that. May I make a slight observation here? Nobody's advertising in any newspaper right now. And that is because nobody reads the newspaper. So it's funny. I told everybody before, I was on a media panel a couple of years ago. I was at Bethel College. I represented radio. We had somebody from television, had somebody from the newspaper there. And the person from the newspaper, I got her to admit that they do bury the lead, and that they won't actually tell you the real story up in the front of the paper, and that they'll tell you the real story at the back end. So they basically give you their opinion up front and then the facts later on. But most people don't read beyond the third paragraph of a news article. So you get the headline, you get up to the first 3 paragraphs, which are all opinion. And then you find out that your opinion means absolutely nothing because the facts totally contradict what your opinion was, which is formulated based on the author. So she admitted that they do that frequently, and then said that she couldn't understand why the paper couldn't make any money. And I'm just sitting, gee, I wonder, you just admitted that you bury the lead. And you're not stupid. Like, you all see this. How many times have we talked about an article or something published in any newspaper, doesn't have to be local or anything like that, where it's so biased and it is so fraught with errors that, people they stop reading it. When people stop reading it, then people obviously will decide not to advertise in it. That's typically how it goes. Now, does that mean you can't do effective advertising with a paper? No, you certainly can. It's just that a paper, people are reading less and less of them. And in part is because of a smaller trust in the media. In part is because of time, and in part is because it's digitized. And when you put things behind a paywall, like Wall Street Journal and Forbes does this all the time. So they will put something behind a paywall, which means you have to pay to read the article. So if you read, 2/3 of an article somewhere from somebody who's authorized to republish it under certain license, and then you have to click on the link to see the original article, they'll put you behind a paywall. But I already read the article anyway at the other place, so why do I need to pay you any money to do it? They're already paying you to syndicate the article, so I'm just going to go and read their thing. You'll make their money off of them. You're not going to make your money off of me because I can just read it from them for free. I know it's a roundabout way of doing all of this, but, and then you have the newspapers going, we don't understand why we can't make any money, and it's because you don't advance in technology. There are plenty of websites out there that make a lot of money writing news articles. When newspapers can't do it, that's a problem with the paper. That's not a problem with anybody else. It's not a problem with the readers and things like that. Now, I don't know exactly all of the circumstances involving the history of these people in this town and everything else, but they're saying, look, our newspaper folded because people didn't like the fact that one of the owners used to own a strip club. Maybe the paper was garbage. Maybe people looked at the first issue and said, this is trash, not going to read it. Maybe this individual made enemies of pretty much every business in the area, and that's why they don't want to give any support. So maybe it has nothing to do with the whole moralist argument that they're trying to say, because they're trying to say it's a fuddy-duddy squad. Maybe they just suck as people. It happens. You get a strip club that opens up. Businesses oppose a strip club being in certain areas. They don't like what it does to the clientele. Don't like what it does to the feeling of the ambiance, if you will, of the area. And that can cause some friction. That can cause some battles. So maybe something like that happened in the past. Who knows? But ladies and gentlemen, there's other businesses there that have the Uranus thing on it. I'm staring at a billboard of the Uranus Fudge Factory. And so if you were thinking, kudos to them for going for that. If you were thinking it's the name of the paper, it is not, because this area apparently has a lot of names, a lot of businesses with this particular name. And if somebody can put Uranus Fudge Factory up there on a billboard, then by golly, Uranus Examiner shouldn't be a problem in Missouri. Examine what? 95.3 MNC's 12 Days of Christmas. Once again this year, Santa's sleigh is overstuffed with presents. The 12 days is now 14 days. Text the word days right now to 45364 for a chance to win great prizes from South Bend Chocolate Company, Locked Up Mishawaka, C. Kramer Interiors, and Temper Grill. Again, message and data rates do apply. You can check out the complete list of 14 prizes on our website at 953mnc.com. Presented by Parkwood Auto Spa and 95.3 MNC. Once again, text the word days right now to 45364. You can watch the live stream at youtube.com/Casey the Host and facebook.com/Casey the Host. More coming up next.
WTRC FM and HD1 Niles, South Bend, Elkhart. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Another wild ride on Wall Street. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Dow up 44 points at the closing bell after being down more than 500 points during the session, dropping under 24K, then climbing back over it. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis at the New York Stock Exchange.
We were talking this morning about whether the Dow index would go into correction mode if it lost 243 points by the end of the day. Not so now. But I have to tell you, the overall tone of the market is not that positive. People are talking about selling the rally rather than buying the dip over concerns about earnings, concerns about interest rates. Lots of worries down here, not to mention trade, of course. That's a big worry, too.
The early sell-off blamed in large part, on uncertainty over the trade dispute with China, also Britain's Brexit turmoil.
If you want to leave without a deal, be upfront that in the short term this would cause significant economic damage to parts of our country who can least afford to bear the burden.
But Prime Minister Theresa May postponing a vote in Parliament on her negotiated plan to exit the European Union, admitting it didn't have enough support to pass. French President Emmanuel Macron asking for another chance after 4 weekends of rioting over his planned reforms.
Maybe in the beginning I gave you the impression that I didn't care. But that's not true.
In a televised address to the nation, Macron pledging to speed up tax relief, but also condemning violence and vowing to restore calm. Months after disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar was sent to prison for sexually abusing patients, including Olympic gymnasts, fallout from the scandal continues. The U.S. Olympic Committee firing Chief of Sport Performance Alan Ashley after an independent report released today said that he and another official who already resigned failed to act when they first heard about allegations against Nassar, allowing more abuse for more than a year. This is Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. Michiana's News Channel on 95.3 FM, the 95.3 MNC app, and online at 95.3mnc.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, it was a difficult day to say the least at Mishawaka High School, one day after the murder of 17-year-old Brianna Rushling and the arrest of 16-year-old classmate Erin Trejo, who's charged with murder.
I think it's horrible. I don't understand how somebody could do that. Like, she was such an amazing person.
Hundreds of friends online mourning Rushling, who, according to her family, was 6 months pregnant.
Any senseless death is very upsetting, but when you're talking about young people, it is more so.
The suspect, 16-year-old Erin Trejo, is charged with murder. He's also a student at Mishawaka High who plays on the football team which Rushling managed this season, while also cheering and gearing up for other sports, what friends called her true passion.
Her smile could light up the entire room. The last time I seen her was Thursday. We seen her in the hall. She waved, smiled. It's just hard.
That's ABC 57's Kylie Walker reporting. Classmates staged a walkout today in remembrance of Rushling. And the Special Olympics of Indiana are preparing for their biggest fundraiser of the year.
It's called the Polar Plunge, where participants jump into a lake in the winter as a way to raise funds for local Special Olympics athletes. Northwest Regional Manager Buzz Lale says this year is a big one for the organization.
When we plunge, we'll be in our 50th year, and we've got big things planned for our athletes at events throughout the year.
The South Bend event takes place at Four Winds Field Concourse on Saturday, February 23rd. Register at polarplungein.org.
95.3 MNC's Carly Luca reporting.
Weather sponsored by the Prime Table Kit.
Get your Prime Table gift cards, a great gift this holiday season.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialist first warning forecast.
Cloud cover remains intact until we get closer to the late this afternoon with a high of 36 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 23. And then throughout the day tomorrow, a good mix of sun and clouds with temperatures right around 36 for the daytime high. We're going to see, though, a chance for a wintry mix to move in Wednesday evening. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Kennedy.
On air at 95.3 FM, online at 95.3mnc.com, and now on Alexa.
Alexa when you tell her to enable the 95.3 MNC skill. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
News powered by Polymax at Four Lakes. Join them Saturday, December 15th for an evening of music with the Lighthouse Chorus. $10 cover charge. RSVP today.
Polymax at Four Lakes. Locally raised meats, made to order American classics like walleye, bluegill, haddock, hand-cut Chairman's Reserve steaks, slow-smoked ribs, double bacon, double cheeseburgers, wings, and a full bar to put the finishing touches on your visit. Just a short drive from anywhere in Michiana. We're located between the 9th and 10th holes of Four Lakes Golf Course on Highway 12 in Edwardsburg, and we are open to the public. Check out our daily specials today. Visit Tuesdays through Saturdays to taste what it means to make American food great again.
The most successful teams always have a game plan, so it makes sense that to have a successful retirement, you'd want to prepare. With a written strategy and a professional to help keep you on track, you're one step closer to your own winning retirement. At Howard Bailey, that's what we do. Call now to schedule a complimentary visit with a certified financial planner and let Howard Bailey help you retire with purpose. 800-213-6383, 800-213-6383.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield. Another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Casey Hendrickson from the Mid-States Construction Studio. Mid-States Construction, one of the nation's leading authorized builders of new core building systems. On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-953. That's 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Looks like I might have messed up in the last commercial break. I was trying to track down this research for these school lunches. I think I left the station microphone on in addition to my microphone, so I apologize about that if you're watching the live stream. So you heard all the radio commercials as well as me talking. The media has done a really good job of burying the story about the guy at Cornell University, the researcher whose research directly related to the Department of Agriculture and the Let's Move campaign and everything else with Michelle Obama. It was not 4 of his papers being retracted. It was 6. His papers were retracted from JAMA, the entire JAMA network, and by the American Medical Association. They retracted all 6 of his papers. He was forced into retirement at Cornell University. His name is Brian Wansink. He used to be the director of the Food and Brand Lab. Now, he will no longer teach as well. Cornell's not going to allow this man to teach. And they said that basically his job now is to help them verify all of his previous research, because they're now going through all of his old research to make sure that he didn't do the same thing with his old research that he did with this research. This guy, Brian Wansink, is the guy responsible for everything the Department of Agriculture, Michelle Obama, and everybody else told you about the school lunch program. Everything. This guy right here is the person behind it. The Department of Agriculture took his research. They then banned a bunch of foods as a result of this guy's research. They then required having other foods as a result of this guy's research. Michelle Obama, of course, the figurehead for that, and went out there and told everybody about it. Kids stopped eating the lunch. Joe is in here and he's saying, yeah, school lunches were garbage for most of my tenure as well. And they used to, man, I used to look forward to lunch. Lunch used to be really good when I went to school. And it's unfortunate that kids don't know what that's like. Everybody that's older than you says that. Yeah, dude, they were awesome. But, you know, we had days where the school would make their own lunch. I mean, my favorite day was French bread pizza day when I was in elementary school. But as I got older and I got into high school, the school didn't make any lunch. I mean, they had students that would go in there and work, but basically the food was brought in by name brand restaurants. So the restaurants would bring their food in and the students would basically serve it up. You know, and I keep telling people, like, we should totally do that. And you can actually have the restaurants paying you to be in there because it's marketing. You know, as long as their costs of foods and things like that are being covered, if the school can get a kickback of all of that, and I mean, the school makes money instead of losing money. Why not? Why not do that? Now, we used to have Pizza Hut in there. We used to have Kentucky Fried Chicken in there. I'm not advocating that you have that stuff every single day, you know, but there are other restaurants would come in and they would have a meal in there. You can get a normal meal, just like you could anywhere else. So it's Brian Wansink, but it took me the whole first hour to find the paper again. So I was able to find it, and it's Brian Wansink, it's Cornell University. That's the guy responsible for the research. He's been thoroughly discredited. And so when the Washington Post publishes an article this weekend and says the Trump administration is rescinding all of Obama administration's school lunch standards, and the Washington Post, by the way, we read an article from it a couple weeks ago. Previously, it talked about how the school lunch program had been a massive failure, but they didn't tell you where the school lunch program came from. So the Washington Post had admitted weeks ago that the school lunch program was a disaster. It had wasted billions of dollars. 2 million less kids per day eat school lunch now. Schools are losing money off of this thing. It's food waste. It's time. It's energy. It's ridiculous. Plus, it's not healthier. So then they went ahead and they left out why that was. Why did the Obama administration and the Department of Agriculture go down that road? And it was all because of this guy and his research. And now all of his stuff has been pulled out. They have accused him, I should say convicted him of. There's really no trial here, but they said that he has committed academic misconduct in his research and scholarship, including misreporting of research data, problematic statistical techniques, failure to properly document and preserve research results, and inappropriate authorship. So Cornell University has savaged this guy. And when all of your research on this subject, which changed national policy, has been retracted and just picked apart as trash, and yet we had the federal government buy it and go right into it. This is why I keep telling you this, you know, when the federal government tells you some kind of food is or is not healthy, don't buy it. And, you know, you look for individuals that might have some brilliance in this type of stuff, but the federal government has been so wrong on food and diet since the beginning of time. The food pyramid was a huge disaster for this country, and I think that we're all still trying to recover from that. You got this guy going out there and telling you not to have salt and everything else. And by the way, this was basically accepted as gospel, okay? I've told you before that, you know, many years ago, my wife had gone in, she saw the doctor, and her doctor said, do not tell anybody I told you this, eat more salt. It's okay to get fries. But he says, don't you dare tell anybody I said it, because he was worried about his reputation. But, you know, that's what her body needed. And sure enough, she felt better when she started having more salt. This guy's out there basically telling you that salt is bad. Salt's not bad. Too much salt is bad. Too much anything is bad. Water will kill you if you drink too much of it. Okay. But so that's the guy. Brian Wansink is the guy. So the Washington Post publishes a story. They attack the Trump administration for rolling back these health standards, but they leave out that all of the health standards that the Trump administration is rolling back on have been retracted and debunked by the American Medical Association, the JAMA Network, and Cornell University. And that the guy who did all of that research has basically lost his job, lost all credibility, and his full-time job now is to be paid by the university. He used to be a managing director of one of their main research bodies. His job is now to be paid to have them go through and verify that he didn't lie in other research. That's his job. His job is to sit there and let them critique all of his work, which frankly they should have done before they allowed them all to be published, but I digress. So yeah, kind of interesting. The Washington Post just left that part out. But if you look at this, it has been thoroughly buried. It is very, very difficult to find articles on this stuff. And I tried multiple search terms that typically work. Ultimately, I had to find it in my own old show prep. Luckily, I had recently upgraded the ability to go back and search all of my stuff. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Hey, you could win a free pair of tickets to the NHL Winter Classic at Notre Dame Stadium with the Chicago Blackhawks and Boston Bruins on the ice. For a chance to win a pair of tickets, text the word winter to 45364 right now. Message and data rates apply from Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station. Again, text the word winter right now to 45364 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to go to the NHL Winter Classic at Notre Dame Stadium with the Blackhawks versus the Bruins. We got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
KC Hendrickson, Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
There we go. That's why I wasn't talking the last breaks. I was trying to find this, and I was flabbergasted that I couldn't find it as easily as I normally do.
Your name, please? Can I get your name, please? Alrighty, see what I can do.
In this one, they've got Chrome set up for Google in the studio. I'll usually use DuckDuckGo if I can, but
use what?
DuckDuckGo. It's basically Google without any of the spying. They strip all of that extra stuff out. We got 45 watching right now? Holy smokes. Hello, everybody. Sorry I've been so quiet, but I get a mission in my head, and I'm just like, I gotta find this friggin' article. That's right, Deborah. Okay, so Wansink is officially up to 15 studies retracted. They just keep finding more and more and more. What's that?
The ad. I was talking back at the ad because that's what I do to entertain myself.
Okay.
No worries, Casey. I'm just crazy.
Word. Three downs, huh? Thumbs downs count. But if there's 40 people watching, I'd like, 40 some odd people to give me a thumb of some kind. That came out wrong, but it's Monday. And I'm on medication today. All right, now I can go back to actually kind of focusing on what I was doing. Thanks. That's a Facebook thumb, but that'll work. I appreciate it. All right, here we go.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right, so the Clinton Foundation is something we're going to have to discuss probably at 4:30. And there's a lot of information that's been happening with the Clinton Foundation. We know that a whistleblower's house was raided here recently. We kind of talked about that a little bit. But there is some new information that is coming out, and they may actually have an informant now. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Clinton Foundation is the personal charity that the Clintons had, which many allege was set up as a way to do a pay-for-play scandal. I should say scheme, that once it was discovered became a scandal, a pay-for-play scheme that would buy favors from Hillary Clinton should she win the presidency. And after she lost the election, I think their donations dropped like 90%. It was like nobody's interested anymore. And we also have some research that shows that they didn't actually put the money that was supposed to go to charity for charity, Haiti being the big story there. But there's a lot of issues with the Clinton Foundation, which has been under criminal investigation since the election. And, of course, the media didn't like talking about that. Even Chelsea had gone out there and said that people were doing bad things in my parents' name. Now, again, she thinks that these are other people inside the organization doing stuff. I think most of you listening probably think that she's being naive and it was her parents that were doing stuff. I digress, but we'll get to that here about 4:30. The media, I'm not surprised by this, all right? So we've got, and I may mention this last week when it was announced, and okay, we need a new UN ambassador. Why not have somebody who's well-spoken, gets along with everybody, kind of knows the issues, that sort of thing. It's a pretty big diplomatic post. I think most people understand that. So what ended up happening is President Trump announced his replacement for Nikki Haley. And as they announced the replacement for Nikki Haley, she used to work for Fox News. She's now been the spokesperson for one of the bureaucracies in the federal government. And the media is just collectively losing their mind over this. And you look at it and you're like, why is the media so upset that somebody who used to work for Fox News might be the ambassador of the United States to the United Nations? Now, her name is Heather Nauert, and she used to be a journalist at Fox News. She was a journalist for over 20 years. She's also served as a government affairs consultant on issues including health insurance, Social Security, taxes. She was a term member for the Council on Foreign Relations. So she's got a really good resume. But now she's being attacked as another attractive blonde who used to work at Fox News. And so you've got a lot of people in the media who are just saying, hey, why is it that he's hiring reporters and things like that, friendly journalists, to go ahead and have these huge diplomatic posts? These people don't have any experience. First of all, she does have experience. But second of all, wasn't there like 24, 25 journalists that entered the Obama administration? Why is this a big deal? If they can do the job and they're qualified, nobody should be upset about this. And she's got qualifications that would ring very well in the United Nations, okay? So back in 2013, this is Joseph Curl. Back in 2013, President Barack Obama nominated a 42-year-old former journalist for one of the top diplomatic posts in the federal government, ambassador to the United Nations. There was an immediate outcry from the media which questioned her qualifications. Just kidding, that never happened. But it is happening now as President Trump nominates a 48-year-old former journalist to the very same post. In 2013, Obama nominated Samantha Powers for the UN post. Powers had begun her illustrious career as a war correspondent for 4 years, covering the Yugoslav wars for U.S. News and World Report and the Boston Globe, among other publications. She went on to become the director of a human rights center at Harvard, but also continued as a columnist for Time magazine. Okay, so again, you could argue that being a journalist can deeply help you with United Nations work. Building networks, getting informants, hugely important in that sort of thing. There's some spycraft that goes into being an ambassador at the UN, and journalists definitely engage in spycraft. She joined the Obama campaign in 2008, was quickly forced to resign after she called Hillary Clinton a monster who was stooping to anything to win, which, by the way, was true. Let's not forget, Michelle Obama in her latest book says, I'll never forgive Donald Trump for the birtherism stuff, right? Who started the birtherism stuff? Joe? Hillary Clinton did. Hillary Clinton, her campaign started the rumor that he wasn't born in the U.S. Did Donald Trump pick up that mantle along with several other people? Absolutely, but Hillary Clinton started it. But Michelle Obama didn't blame Hillary Clinton in her book. She blamed Donald Trump. After Powers' nomination of the UN position, powerful Republicans like Senator John McCain, Lindsey Graham, along with independent Senator Joseph Lieberman, they all backed her. She was confirmed by a Senate vote of 87-10. She served in the position for more than 3 years, was succeeded by Trump's appointment, Nikki Haley, who is stepping down at the end of this year, which we all know. I remember when this nomination happened. I remember talking about it. I remember telling everybody who she was because I was familiar with her writing. And there was no backlash. There was no significant outrage. There was, you had a couple of blogs and went, oh, another liberal going to the UN, whatever. But there really wasn't any serious backlash over Powers getting the nomination. So, most people figured she fits the mold of what you need in a UN ambassador. Now, there are people who like military-minded people or diplomatic-minded people to go to the UN first, and because it's a diplomatic post, okay? There are people who feel that way. But we've also found that people with a journalistic background tend to do fairly well at the United Nations, as long as at least building contacts and that sort of thing. I'm not talking about philosophy. I'm just talking about networking and the ability to make friends and get negotiations, deals, that sort of thing. So fast forward to today, Trump is nominated as Haley's replacement, Heather Nauert, a former Fox News journalist. Again, she was in journalism for over 20 years, government affairs consultant, yada, yada, yada. So in April of 2017, the United States Department of State announced that Nauert would become the new department spokesman. Okay. Now, that is, again, last year. All right. So that's the post that she has had this entire time. She's been with the State Department as their spokesperson. This past March, she was named Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. And then on Thursday, Trump nominated her for U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. CNN immediately called into doubt her skills in a section of a news piece titled Qualifications Question. CNN cited a senior diplomat who said, "This is extraordinary, especially in the footsteps of former ambassadors Madeleine Albright and Susan Rice." Did you just gloss over everybody else who has not had a similar resume to Albright and Rice, who have been UN ambassadors, like Powers? Just washed right over. Powers, by the way, embroiled in a scandal right now. Okay, embroiled in a scandal of unmasking. The Washington Post quoted career presidential aide David Gergen, who said, "In terms of what we normally look for at the United Nations, her resume is very thin." So why is everybody attacking this woman? She's clearly got government experience. She's been a consultant. She's worked with a lot of people on bipartisan issues. She's also dealt with a lot of people with healthcare, which is primarily what the UN deals with on a daily basis, is the health and welfare of people of third world countries when they're not attacking Israel and trying to raise your gas prices. But primarily that's what they do. That's her background. So why is it that when, I know you know the answer, and I know I'm being facetious here. Okay, I get it. But everybody is attacking her, and nobody is bringing up that this is actually fairly common. And you can try and equivocate it any way that you want, justify it any way you want. There's no reason to go after this woman. She clearly has the resume. It's not like she pulled the president pulled a talk radio host or something out of Michiana and put him in at the UN. And then when the building lit on fire, you were all like, yeah, maybe that wasn't a wise decision. I mean, it's like she's got a background for this. But everybody's upset. Why? Because it's Trump and he's not allowed to do anything without making the media angry, even if it means elevating one of their own. Oh, but she's not one of their own because she comes from the Fox crowd. Even if it means elevating one of their own to an esteemed post for the United Nations. And I mean, only time will tell if she does a great job. Nikki Haley did a far better job than I thought she would, and I thought she was going to be really good at it anyway. Nikki Haley just has that personality. So really interesting to see this. But a lot of journalists joined the last administration. And of course, journalists hailed that. They love that. God forbid a couple should find a post in the current administration. MNC News Time is 4:31. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC.
Hello, sir.
Oh, was there a phone call?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no phone calls listed on my system, and I didn't see the thing. So if he wants to mention something, I'll take his call because I didn't see it. So I'm gonna restart my call screener.
Hello, Joe. Oh, he wasn't there. Oh.
Yeah, I could see your note to me, but I couldn't see the lines. Okay, yeah, there they are now. So just being wonky on me. All right, well, we got him now.
Well, I didn't hang up on him.
Huh?
He...
I know, but I can see the lines now. I couldn't even see anything before.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that's fixed now.
Now, yeah.
I thought you were just like, whatever, I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm moving on. It's like, okay.
No, I did notice the light on my phone.
Hold is spelled with an L, not two L's.
Oh, real? Yeah, look, dude, that will happen. You will get people in the media who get super butthurt if they can't get an interview with somebody. And, I mean, look, one of the, when I gave criticisms of Ted Cruz and John James, the criticism was that they were doing surrogates. They weren't doing the actual candidates. And that's not a reflection on them. That's a reflection on people who are running their campaigns. But, there are people who want to make friends with everybody and they want to be famous. Like I've got Brian Kilmeade's personal number, and I don't hound him about going on his television show. Okay, but there are people who will. And for him to actually give me his personal phone number, that's a huge risk on his part. Because you will, and I've worked with these people too, where they get somebody's phone number, and next thing you know, they're constantly sending them messages, trying to get on their television shows, trying to get more attention, that sort of thing. And if it doesn't happen, then people pitch a fit and they get really upset. So that sounds like what you're describing with the girl who's upset, but I mean, I don't know the whole situation, obviously. I don't know Heather. I've never met her. If you don't like her personally, so what? A lot of people don't like Bolton. Bolton was still a good UN ambassador. It is what it is. Yeah, me, a UN ambassador, exactly. What? You can't wear a hoodie in the UN? Dude, I got a hoodie that looks like a tuxedo. I'll be good. Don't worry. I'll be fine. Be just fine. Did you see the latest report from the UN that there's like 3,300 pedophiles or something? Where's the... Did I put it in... I think I put it in Discord. Yep. Report finds the UN employs 3,300 pedophiles responsible for 60,000 rapes in the last 10 years. That's the United Nations, folks. Well, I mean, okay. Misspoke. I don't own it. I have it saved in my list of things that I may potentially get. I was going to get an ugly Christmas sweater hoodie, though. I've got like a whole list of like hoodies that I want. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but like I said, it is what it is. There's a lot of people who have egos in this business, and if that ego isn't stroked appropriately by everybody, it becomes a problem. It's like people who contact me and they automatically think that they're going to get on the air about something, and you know, it's not because I don't like somebody or I don't like what they have to say or I don't want to help them out in some way, but I mean, I can't do that stuff because I'll get bogged down and I will never get away from it. So everything I do has got to have a service to the station or a service to the audience. As for dogs and says security, that's awesome. That's funny. What's up, John? How's Phoenix treating you?
Nothing other than second amendments. That's normal. So.
Okay. All right, do an update on the killing in Mishawaka, and then we'll go into the Clinton Foundation. So we're doing.
I didn't know.
Someone
just asked if you were going to talk about that. I don't know.
We've been doing it every hour. Every hour we're doing it.
Didn't realize that was in our wheelhouse.
Yep. Open the show. He still owns a gun store, Al. And when you walk in, you have to walk and wipe your feet on the UN's flag. He still has it. That's caller Len who calls in. He does not wear camo to the mall. He always wears a dress slacks, and a sport coat, always. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3,
Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Again, located in New Carlisle. They do have a basic pistol class that is coming up on January 20th at 12 to 4. And you can reserve your spot. It's $125 each. You can reserve your spot, and you can go to secondamendmentarms.net to learn more. Also, Thursday is Defensive Pistol Open League Night, and those are getting really, really popular. They had a big crowd there this last Thursday, they were saying. And, of course, tons of great gift ideas for the holidays, and if you mention me, you get great discounts on all of that. All right, so every hour we're giving you updates on this. The Mishawaka High School football player allegedly stabbed and killed a female student, so we're learning more about the murder now. She was 6 months pregnant with his child, and earlier, of course, those are the speculations that he would be the prospective father. The two got in a fight over the pregnancy. Aaron Trejo, 16, was charged Monday afternoon with 1 count of murder, 1 count of feticide, a level 3 felony, and the death of a 17-year-old Brianna Rushling. Trejo and Rushling reportedly met late Saturday night to talk about the pregnancy. After not returning home, her mother became concerned and contacted police. The teen's body was then found in a dumpster near their home behind a restaurant. And again, as I said earlier, I'm intentionally trying not to mention the restaurant because they have nothing to do with any of this. It was their dumpster, and it's not fair, frankly, for them to be mentioned all over the place. And, they didn't have anything to do with this, and people are going to get a bad impression, and it's not their fault. After initially denying that he met with her, according to a probable cause affidavit, police say when confronted with the physical evidence, he eventually told police that the two got in a fight about the pregnancy. He then told them that Rushling waited too long to tell him about the baby, and it was too late for an abortion, which is kind of what we speculated online over the weekend that this was probably about. I alluded to some of that stuff without specifically saying anything earlier before he had actually been charged. When asked what he did about it, he reportedly told police, "I took action. I took her life." That's what he said. So undoubtedly, 16-year-old immature kid thinking that a pregnancy is going to ruin his life has now ruined his life. Police said that he had been thinking about killing Rushling and the baby for about a week, had not told anybody about it. An autopsy confirmed that she died from multiple stab wounds and that her scarf had been tied so tightly that strangulation was occurring before she actually died. So it's obviously horrific. Now, when you have a situation like this, to my knowledge, there's nobody else that they are saying may have been involved. Okay. So, this is a big question. And I know that, several of you have kids that go to Mishawaka High School. I've got friends who have people on the team. And so this is obviously nerve-wracking anytime you have something like this, because it's going to touch them very closely, but you also hope that somebody isn't involved in any of this. And right now, the police are not saying that there's anybody else that I'm aware of anyway. Mishawaka High School football team was planning on celebrating its season on Sunday evening at a banquet dinner, but as the day unfolded, students and parents learned of the alleged murder and the team's student manager by one of the players. Instead of a celebratory banquet, it was a meeting with the football family and coaches and parents to talk about the tragedy. So her body was found Sunday morning. He had thrown her in a dumpster. And again, 6 months pregnant, according to her stepmom, his kid. He'd been thinking about this for a week, just because he said that she waited too long. Well, now her whole family's lives are ruined. His whole family's lives are ruined. His life is ruined. The life of his child, which I know he didn't care about, ruined. This poor girl, ruined, and in such a fashion to be treated that way. It's absolutely horrific. all because he didn't want to accept responsibility for what he had done. And now, instead of his life being, air quote, ruined because he had a child, and this is where I pull out the Las Vegas card, because it's the city with the most underage pregnancies in the country. And you run into a lot of women who have their babies very young, 15, 16 years old. And a lot of them feel like their life is over initially. And then many of them say you get over that pretty darn quick. And it ends up being a huge blessing in your life. It changes you around. It heals you, if you will. I'm not advocating that anybody go out and do it, because way too young to be having a child, folks. But those feelings do subside for most people, and they actually turn around. And if you talk with anybody who had their child at a very young age, you'll probably find a whole lot of people that, like, I had no idea what I was going to do. No clue. And it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. So he thought that this was going to ruin his life. He thought this was going to ruin his life. And so he actually went out and ruined his life and the lives of all of these other people just because of that. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. More coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
KC Hendrickson, News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather.
How's the new Indian? It's in the garage, not doing anything, which is irritating, because I should be riding it. Although, I did just find out that Christy Swanson drives an Indian Scout, rides one, should say, and she's thinking about getting a Chieftain Dark Horse. So that was pretty cool. One of my favorite celebrities rides the same bike as me.
When's the last time you felt a real connection to your insurance agent? If you answered never, maybe you need an insurance agent who sees things your way. With Laban, you get an insurance agent who gets you in your life. Protect your lifestyle and your ideas for the future with real, fully engaged people ready to work with you in ways you want. Local, family-owned and
Yeah, it sucks, dude. I actually was looking out. I got in my car today, and I went, man, do I just want to take all my stuff back in and get the bike out? I almost just rode it in today, because today's a good day to ride, but I don't know. I didn't. You would have had the live stream, though.
Laban Insurance. Personal, professional protection. Connect with us today at LabanInsurance.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Laban Insurance.
Oh, dude, when you get that FTR, you're going to have to keep me away from your house. You kidding me? By the way, how's Charlottesville? I've been watching your pictures. It's been covered in snow in Charlottesville. Excuse me, in Charlottesville. Y'all, Warren put his deposit down on FTR. Lucky bastard. Charlottesville sucks.
Can actually make money while you sleep, but John does.
Yeah. It's so weird. Oh, okay. Optical illusion. It looks like one of my blinds is messed up in the camera, but it's not. Well, John, you do that. You take a ride in honor of me, brother. You take a beer with you. You just tip it on the side as you're riding. So for Casey. You can apply to be a Tribune carrier by texting them now, huh?
They're desperate.
I'm sure they just send you a link back to the application page where you'll upload your resume, and then on the next page you'll have to physically fill out your resume. Can't upload the file because that's what they all do because they suck and they don't know what the hell they're doing. Oh, that sucks, man. I haven't seen that much snow in Charlottesville in a long time, dude. I don't know when the last time. I'm sure they're probably telling you on the news. I don't know when the last time they had that much was. That is snowy. Plus, it's Charlottesville, so they're just going to shut everything down. They don't know what the hell to do.
Snowstorm where they had the inch of snow and everybody knew how to drive.
Yeah, Atlanta the other day, or a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Dude, all the Walking Dead memes of that were friggin' hysterical.
Oh, I just love
my
SNL
God.
bit.
Did they do an SNL bit?
They did a Weekend Update SNL bit during that because like some guy was on the because their huge freeway was shut down.
Yeah,
because nobody knew how to drive.
Nobody knew what they were doing.
It was hilarious. Probably one of the best SNL bits I'd seen in a really long time.
I will consider some nubbies and all of that, but that's down the road. And I'll probably have a beater bike for the snow. I'm not going to take my nice bike out. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in.
And News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send me a text message at 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. And if you go to youtube.com/Casey the host and facebook.com/Casey the host, you can watch the live stream. You can interact. I've got some people in Phoenix making fun of me because they're going to take their motorcycles out, and I can't. I almost did today. I came so close. I was just telling everybody that. Came so close to taking the motorcycle out today and riding into work and not doing the live stream. But ultimately, I didn't do it. All right, so some text messages running in here. Casey, I pray for all involved. Mishawaka needs to step up and do a fundraiser for the girls and unborn child to raise money for them. This is a good cause and also his family. I assume you're talking about raising money for their family. It's horrific. It's awful. And, for the young people out there kind of listening to this and, you have a large chunk of an older population that is telling you steer away from these types of relationships when you're young. And I know that seems like a fuddy-duddy thing, and I felt the same exact way when I was your age. I felt the exact same way. But the older you get, you start to learn about the psyche, the psychology of it, the mind, how people react to this type of pressure. And there is a ton of pressure. So my best friend just had her second child, and other very close friends of mine, same week, just had their first child. And he just shared a picture of this, and he's looking at his child, and he does the same thing that we all do. Holy crap, I can't believe I'm a dad now. And that's, folks, I'm telling you right now, that reaction is the same when you're 15, when you're 18, when you're 21, when you're 25, when you're 30. It is the same exact reaction every time. I am now responsible for this. And when you're older, you look at it and you go, well, crap, there goes my card nights. Oh, well, got to rearrange some things. When you're younger, you panic. And that's where, when you have an adult kind of advising you, hey, don't do this. Or if you do this, for the love of God, take precautions, which they obviously didn't. It is because there is a panic-inducing moment when this happens. And it's not just about, oh my gosh, I have this life that's now going to come into the world, but it's also, I've got to tell everybody. I've got to deal with my friends. My social life is now gone. All of these things that are of paramount importance to many young people kind of goes away, at least in the way that they fantasize they want them to be or currently are occurring. And so there's this panic. An adult most of the time doesn't have that panic. And that's one of the reasons that adults give you this advice of not doing things like this at that age, because there is an inability to properly process what is going to happen. It's not always that way. It certainly isn't common for teenage pregnancies to end like this. But it is one of the reasons that people give a cautionary tale. And it's unfortunate that both of their families now have to deal with this. And I always bring this up. His family is going to be hurting immensely today, having discovered this. They have to now live with all of this as well. Let's see. Casey, this murder angers me because our society no longer values life. It's a morality thing, not an abortion issue. Yeah. I don't know enough about this kid to know if he had a personality that allowed a sort of mentality to grow in it like this. I don't know that. I don't know if this is a full 180 for what he normally behaves like. I don't know if he already had markers that led him down this path. I don't know if he was already a violent person. I don't know any of this, and so it's hard for me to comment on what exactly it is that set this off, other than this is a 16-year-old who found out that he was going to be a father, and he blamed her for not telling him early enough so he could convince her to get an abortion. Well, maybe she didn't tell him for that specific reason. Maybe she waited until she couldn't get one because she didn't want to have one. And unfortunately, this is the result. It's an horrific situation. It's awful. It's something that we don't like talking about, but we have to. And now this is going to tear apart two families, and it's going to tear apart a football team with all of his friends and all of her friends, the school. From the accounts that I'm hearing, they're both fairly popular. And so a lot of people are going to be affected by this. All because they made a decision and he didn't want to take responsibility for it. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Once again, please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I guess I'll do the Clinton Foundation stuff in the next hour. Went a little bit longer in that last one. We had some updated information about it that we didn't have before, so we will do that in the next hour. That way we can go ahead and cover all bases. Now, this week in history, though, this is a very historic week. Anybody have any idea what happened this week in history? Well, Pearl Harbor happened, sure. But the 13th Amendment banning slavery was also passed by a majority Republican Congress, and people forget about that. I don't see the NAACP celebrating that this week, which is a little strange, but go figure. So it's, people forget what really happened. And you can try and say that, well, that was then, this is now, and the parties have flipped. The flipping party theory has been already clearly debunked by multiple historians and everything else. But, regardless of who is responsible for this, the 13th Amendment passed, slavery was banned. It happened to be a majority Republican party, which was basically founded to get rid of slavery. The Democrats fought against it. The KKK then militarized themselves in response to it. But as you look through history and you look at all of this stuff, there are people who want to erase all of this. And they just don't want people to know what really happened. First of all, it's obviously a long time ago. And, looking at it from an historical perspective of what really happened doesn't in any way, shape, or form endorse or attack any current party or what their platforms are. But there is a coordinated effort for people to rewrite this history, and we know it because we've had callers call up and say that the KKK was a Republican organization on this program. And we know that that was not the case, but they are trying to make it seem like the case, and there are a lot of people out there who buy into that. So again, 13th Amendment passed banning slavery. That happened 153 years ago this week. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send me text messages to 45364. You got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
WTRC FM and HD19.
Oh, I know you're from here, John. I know that. I just know you're in Phoenix. If you were talking to me.
95mm3 Studio. Hey, Casey. Open your email because you have charging information for the kid and everything on your email.
Got it. You got it.
Open both documents, he says.
Okay.
Anything else? Nope. Okay.
Doo-doo. Oh, I need coffee. This pain medicine I'm on today is knocking me out. I'll return.
I would hope so.
So this is half the size of what it was. Half the size, because it broke open earlier today.
Dude, Casey.
Molten plastic is a bitch.
Oh, no, that makes sense. The word molten.
Oh. Landed right on my fingers and just burnt the tar out of me.
We're still on. Just get over it. Oh, they're thinking they won't be able to. Can't really see these very good. Those are the burns that I got. The one on my index finger is about half the size of what it was earlier because it burst. The last caller called in and blamed the reaction of the young boy on video games.
That caller is dumb.
I wanted to say that. I really wanted to say that to her face, but I don't know. We were never taught how to react in that situation because we weren't told if you do this, here's what you need to do. We were told don't do it, period.
Right.
There's no if something happens, here's what to do. Like, I don't know. So I get the anxiety, and I understand, but I also think the kid should have breathed.
Well, he'd been seething. He was so angry at her for not telling him. And he was just seething over it for a week, they say.
I think your phone's ringing.
Yep. My phone rings all day from people I don't want to talk to. Or people who are supposed to talk to me at other times of the day. I get a little irritated when people set an 11 o'clock appointment, don't keep it, then reschedule for 2, and then don't keep that, and then want me to come in today. No. Gotta stop doing that stuff. I don't have a lot of time as it is. All right, so what time is the Christmas party this year?
I know doors here close at noon.
So it's this Friday. So once again, we've done a Christmas party that I can't attend. Yay. Let's see how many people talk crap about me again this year. Over some people talking trash last year that I never go to the Christmas parties anymore. Yeah, because you have the damn Christmas parties during my show. So I can get here early and I can eat some food and not really play any games because I can't drink. I can't do anything. So then I have to work. Oh, and I have to edit 3 shows minimum on Fridays, every Friday. People were talking trash about me last year. It's like I can hear you. Walls.
It's the same.
Yup. My God, you all still talking about like Charlottesville? Hey, did I or did I not tell you that that guy from the Charlottesville protest was going to argue that he was afraid for his life? And I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if he gets off, or at least gets a reduced charge. Don't be surprised. There's a video of a guy hitting his car right before he accelerates.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. I have a co-ed defense and pistol league. It is an open league, weekly on Thursdays. Let's see, what is today? So today's Monday. So Wednesday are Kids Wednesday. So kids shoot for free with a shooting parent on Wednesday. So again, continue to ask them about training, leagues, opportunities, that sort of thing. And they got 10 dedicated shooting lanes over there. Of course, you know, you get half off when you go to shoot at the range for normal purposes. And then they also have the basic handgun course coming up here on the 20th of January. 574-2595-95.3. Again, 2595-953. When a House subcommittee chairman bangs his gavel next week to convene an unprecedented investigative hearing into the Clinton Foundation, 2 questions will linger as preeminent. Is the Clinton family charity really the international do-gooder that earned a perfect 4-star rating from Charity Navigator? I will point out that I went through several charity reviewing websites. Charity Navigator gave it the highest rating, but Charity Navigator had given other charities lower ratings who had higher percentages of money that actually went for the cause than the Clinton Foundation did, which I always thought was really interesting. Because Charity Navigator, one of the big factors they look for is that the money you're giving to a charity actually goes for the cause, not for salaries and overhead. And the Clinton Foundation spends almost none of its money on the actual cause. If you look at it, they're actually one of the worst performing charities when it comes for the actual dollar amounts that get used for the charitable purpose. And so it was a little strange that Charity Navigator had given them such a high rating. Other reviewers did not give the Clinton Foundation high ratings like that. Or does it suffer from corruption and illegalities as conservatives allege? And if it is the latter, how much evidence of wrongdoing does the government possess? All really good questions. The answer to the first question is that the foundation and its projects reported collecting about $2.5 billion to help global crisis. From AIDS to earthquakes, even its own auditors, lawyers, and employees privately warned of problems over the years. The answer to the second question may reside in 6,000 pages of evidence attached to a whistleblower submission filed secretly more than a year ago with the IRS and the FBI. Now, I want to remind everybody, do you know why that we even have the Russian collusion story here with President Trump? It is because the Clintons pushed it, and we were investigating Hillary's emails that this all came up. But that's also where we discovered that Bill Clinton was getting extra money from Russians to give speeches. And when people would donate to the Clinton Foundation, then they would go and they would give some speeches over there. And of course, you donate to the Clintons, you get a former president come chit-chat with you, and he got paid far more than his average salary to do those things. So he has a speaking fee that he usually gets. But when they were contributing to the campaign, and these happen to be government types, very interesting stuff, he would get more money for that. So there's like the impression is there's some negotiations there, right? So anyway, the evidence was assembled by a private firm called MDA Analytics LLC. They're run by an accomplished ex-federal criminal investigators who allege that the Clinton Foundation engaged in illegal activities and may be liable for millions of dollars in delinquent taxes and penalties. In addition to the IRS, the firm's partners have had contact with prosecutors in the Maine Justice Department in Washington and FBI agents in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is where Bill is from. And last week, a federal prosecutor suddenly asked for documents from their private investigation. Interesting. Remember, so we're looking at Hillary Clinton stuff. We start finding out that Hillary Clinton sat down with the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainian government was giving her information about Donald Trump. We also started finding out about Clinton Foundation stuff and the allegation of pay for play. And then what happened is there's a couple of stories picked up on it, on the possibility that Hillary was getting information on her opponents from foreign governments. And then the story turned, well, Trump is actually doing it, and then Trump-Russia collusion was born. The original collusion story was Hillary and the Ukraine. Now, the Clinton campaign, they're running around saying, no, that was a conspiracy theory. That was never true. The problem is you have Ukrainian lawmakers over in the Ukraine, free from prosecution, going, oh, no, it's true. It's absolutely true. We gave her a ton of information because they have a problem with Russia, obviously, being Ukraine. And they wanted to make sure that they went after everybody who could be seen as friendly to Russia or who would not attack the Russians. And of course, the Russians do not like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton had a series of missteps at the State Department with them. And so there's a long history there. The 48-page submission dated August 11, 2017 supports its claims of 95 exhibits, including internal legal reviews and the foundation conducted on itself in 2008 and 2011. Those reviews flagged several serious concerns about legal compliance. So their own review of themselves flagged concerns about legal compliance. Improper commingling of personal and charity business, and quid pro quo promises made to donors while Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. That becomes the big thing. Now, you look at Uranium One, okay? Uranium One is one of those factors. So, you get some Russians to donate to the Clinton Foundation while she's Secretary of State. You get Bill Clinton going and giving some speeches to Russians with a higher than usual fee. And then the Russians get uranium from the United States, which doesn't make any sense because the United States has to import uranium. So why would the United States export uranium to a country that they import uranium from? And then, of course, you had the media say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. There never actually was any uranium that left. Yes, it did. Went to Canada. Then it made its way through various means to Russia. That's how it happened. So it doesn't look good. It certainly doesn't look good. And without a doubt, there's more evidence of impropriety with that than there has ever been with a Trump-Russia collusion narrative. which again, still not illegal. The submission also cites an interview its investigators conducted with Andrew Kessel that quotes the foundation's longtime chief financial officer as saying that he was unable to stop former President Clinton from commingling personal business and charitable activities inside the foundation, and that he, quote, knows where all the bodies are buried, unquote. So you got this guy doing a internal investigation, and the chief financial officer of the Clinton Foundation is basically saying, I can't get Bill to do what he's supposed to do. This guy keeps breaking the rules. So now we're starting to see some scapegoats happen here, right? Is it really just Bill Clinton? Is Hillary involved in any of this? Or as Chelsea Clinton says, is it just a bunch of other people that are doing stuff in their parents' name? But you've got the chief financial officer basically saying, hey, look, I've got an issue with Bill Clinton being able to play by the rules here. He keeps breaking the rules, which could be criminal, which could be civil. We don't really know. There is a probable cause that the Clinton Foundation has run afoul of IRS rules regarding tax-exempt charitable organizations and has acted inconsistently with its stated purpose. MDA Analytics alleged in its submission, and the foundation should be investigated for all of the above-mentioned improprieties. The tax rules, codes, statutes, and rule of law should and must be applied in this case. Wow. So the current and former foundation sources confirm that CFO Kessel met with MDA investigators in late 2016 and subsequently was interviewed by the FBI in 2017. But they insist that he did not implicate former President Clinton or the foundation in any illegality. They also acknowledge that the internal reviews cited by the submission were authentic and did, in fact, flag issues that the foundation has tried to address, including major governance changes that were made public in 2013. So there's a lot here. This is John Solomon over at The Hill. Now, there is an awful lot here, okay? So I'm not going to go through the entire thing, bore you with all of it, but here's the basic crux of it. There's a whistleblower that went ahead and contacted the officials and said, look, this organization is not doing everything on the up and up. Now, there are accusations that this might rise to the level of serious criminality. There's also accusations that say it may be nothing more than simple tax code violations and not major ones. So simple oversights, easily corrected, that sort of thing. But the one thing that we consistently see in this thing is that we can't keep Bill Clinton away from commingling with people when he's not supposed to be. So you're not supposed to be commingling your personal business and then the charitable business, which we know the Clintons did. Now, again, tax violation, but is that just a little fine, or does it rise to the level of pay for play, which is highly criminal? Now, something else that we just learned here recently, we'll talk a little bit more about Comey. The Clinton Foundation is also big in the infamous Tarmac meeting. So the Tarmac meeting happens between the former Attorney General and Bill Clinton. That's the secret meeting that happened on the tarmac at the airport during the campaign. And one of the things that everybody has pointed out is it is illegal for the Attorney General to meet with Bill Clinton there because if Loretta Lynch is going to be tasked with prosecuting the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton over her emails, which at the time were very real prospects, 2 criminal cases, 2 criminal investigations in Hillary Clinton, she is not allowed to have contact with the spouse of the person who is being targeted, especially if that spouse in one of those cases may be charged himself or might be a material witness. So when James Comey was giving his testimony, we learned that he never asked anybody about the Tarmac meeting, not one time, in spite of the fact that the Tarmac meeting would be highly illegal. But that was a part of the Clinton Foundation investigation that was ongoing as well. 574-25-95-95-3. That's 2595953. More coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
KC Hendrickson, News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather.
What would you like to talk with him about?
I think I just broke my earbuds. Oh. Yeah. I'm here.
All right, can I get your name, please? Alrighty, Steve.
Okay.
See what I can do.
Yeah, we kind of went over some of them. I don't know if you heard the stabbings and yeah. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I was already planning on it. Okay, you bet. Bye. All right, so YouTube chat got Hillaried, huh? Okay. The body count continues to climb.
Was it not recording?
Oh.
Oh, son of...
Don't worry about it now. We'll worry about it tomorrow.
Oh no, it was recording. Good. There wasn't screen movement, and there's usually screen movement.
Oh yeah, sometimes it freezes up on you.
News Talk 953, would you like to talk to Casey?
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's no thumb downs now? Where did they go?
You said 3 or 4 squad. So 8. Alrighty. Alrighty. I'll pass on that information to the correct people.
Later, Warren.
Hey, no problem. Alright. Bye-bye. 7 or 8 squad cars and 3 or 4 plainclothes have 2 cars pulled over on the 31 North Bypass and are strip searching the cars. Drug bust is the speculation.
Some dude already got popped from Michigan going over to Indiana side. Got popped over the weekend.
I believe it.
Everybody's getting popped. Don't go to Michigan and buy marijuana and bring it to Indiana. Don't do it.
It's illegal. That's drug trafficking. That's a felony. Is it? Is it a felony?
Depends on the amount, I think.
I've been charged with.
We'll go find out. Report back.
Okay. Do I get a bonus for that?
Your bonus of yeah, you get your own house.
Yeah.
It's a single cell.
Do I get food? Am I getting fed? Do I get shelter?
Yeah, you'll get some food.
Sweet.
All of that school lunch program food's got to go somewhere.
Well, I understand. The current prison food's a little bit better than school lunch food, from what I hear.
Yeah, but it's going to get a whole lot cheaper now to have that school lunch food.
Yeah, it is. It's just the program is weird and it aggravates me.
I'm gonna bail out early, guys. So I'm gonna get done with the show and bail out. My kid's got a thing at school tonight, so.
Oh, fine.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Where are they stripping people on the road again? North 31 bypass near the Bremen exit. I guess there's a bunch of cops out there, and they are stripping a car down, probably looking for the dopey dope, but you want to avoid that. That's causing a little bit of a slowdown in that particular area. Traffic is driven by R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts, so if the police take all of your seats out of your car and you need a new car, go to R&B Car Company. All right, what do we got here? Back to the phone lines, talking about the Clinton Foundation investigation. Real quick, though, the foundation officials did confirm that there was a meeting, and they did say that they did do an investigation in 2008, did do an investigation in 2011. This is the firm itself, private investigators, and they each one of those investigations in 2008 and 2011 found, quote, widespread problems with governance, accounting, and conflicts of interest, unquote. So she's the most qualified person to ever run for president. Can't even run her own charity. I imagine what would happen with all of that stuff. You know, I have to say that because that's like obligatory. Steve, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Casey, good afternoon. Love the show.
Thank you. What's up?
You are a wonderful asset to our community and very much appreciated.
Well, I've heard that I'm a wonderful first part of that second word, but I'm glad that you completed it for us. So what's on your mind, man?
Well, I've been waiting for you to get to this topic of the Clinton Foundation, Uranium One, how the Democrats project into their political opponents, what they've been doing. I think the Trump-Russian collusion Mueller investigation has been a prime example of projection. Mm-hmm. If you follow the Uranium One, Hillary is up to her eyeballs in that. And I think the Clinton Foundation is a good indication of the corruption there. One of the things that I've been wanting to ask you about, mm-hmm. because you are ex-military, mm-hmm. is do you follow Q and the Q posts?
Not religiously, no, but I'm aware of them, and people will send them to me frequently. They pop up in the Discord every now and then, I think. People ask about them, but yeah, I don't really follow them all that closely.
Well, Q has been extremely active the last couple of days, and I think this is going to be a very interesting week if you follow everything that's going on with the Q and the Q posts.
All right, well, I'll take a look at it, because we're still waiting for at least one or two this next week here. They're trying to get some stuff dumped before they get into the Christmas holiday, and things have not looked very good for the Clinton Foundation for a very long time. Uranium One is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, the other big issues are you know, any pay for play, the fact that you can't have Bill Clinton, you know, he's mingling personal matters with charitable matters and that sort of stuff, and that's, you know, that can create a nightmare for the organization. So, you know, with Uranium One, one of the interesting things about this, and we've said it before, everything that they have accused Trump of doing, the Clintons have been at least somewhat involved in themselves. And
that's a gold projection and
right.
the Saul-Alinsky theory.
Yeah. And remember, the initial collusion story was Hillary sat down with government officials from the Ukraine to get information about Trump. And that was the original story. And then they turned it around to make it about Trump. And to this day, they still don't have any evidence of it.
Well, and the dossier was a Hillary manufactured product from opposition research.
Correct.
I think that's all been well established mm-hmm. at this point. And if they are trying to use it to impeach or unseat a duly elected president, are we talking treason?
Is it actually treason? By the definition of it, probably not. Is it treasonous? Yeah, you could say that. Corrupt, certainly, but does it meet the definition of treason that our government has in codified in law? Probably not.
Well, again, I think it'll be a very interesting week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you followed the Bush 41 funeral, but it seems like there was something interesting going on there, perhaps subpoenas being issued to some of the attendees.
Okay, I didn't see that. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Casey.
You bet. Take care. Yeah, I didn't see anything about that. I'll have to look at that. All right. So now with Comey never directed any agents to ask about the tarmac meeting. Now, you have to understand something. Comey said that the tarmac meeting bothered him. Remember that? Comey said that he was very uncomfortable about the tarmac meeting. Comey said that he was being unjustifiably pressured by the Attorney General to drop the tarmac meeting. Okay? So why doesn't he ask somebody to at least give him some kind of a story about it? Reporter Paul Sperry says that Comey confirmed that he never directed FBI agents to ask Hillary about the tarmac meeting that took place between Bill Clinton and then Attorney General Loretta Lynch during the time of the investigation. And again, it would be illegal for the Attorney General to meet with a subject or potential witness of that investigation. And he said the meeting bothered him, but apparently not enough to actually ask people about it. So if a meeting bothers you, and a meeting is likely illegal given the two investigations that are ongoing, why wouldn't you at least ask about it, right? I think you know your answers, but kind of interesting. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. MNC News Time, 5:31. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. Michiana.
He sings at the end of his reports and then tries to sell his CDs. Ross, yeah, I the Q thing, I've just kind of discovered that it's better to let them live in the fantasy world. When it first came up and people were asking me about it, I looked into it and I was like, this is complete crap. But you know, it is what it is. It's like I can either get in a fight with somebody about it on the air, or I can just, okay, live in your fantasy world. I'm not going to change their mind. You know, it's like people who think that 9/11 was an inside job. You're not going to change their mind. It doesn't matter how much science you throw in their face. They don't care. That's their world. That's what they want to believe. So. I thought it was interesting that he equated my being prior service to that. That was interesting. There are people who are professional conspiracy theorists. It's what they do. It's how they make their living. There's at least one national syndicated show that does that. Well, I guess technically two if you count Coast to Coast. But I wasn't speaking about that specifically. That's it, Mike. Comey didn't do his job and he got fired. It's that simple. It's that simple. He's also been caught lying to Congress.
Zebart and Second Amendment.
Zebart! I keep wanting, every time somebody calls up and talks about the Q posts, I want to queue up like We Are Q from Star Trek. Like every time.
Wait, this is an actual thing that's getting made. Oh, geez.
Probably.
I don't approve of this.
Are they doing Sonic?
Yes.
Is it what, live action?
It's live action.
Okay.
Which means it's CGI.
It's CGI with people in suits.
Yeah. It's like the Lion King movie. It's live action. No, it's animated.
It's
it
animated.
just looks
right.
real. It's called CGI. It's a thing that's used everywhere now.
Yep. That's right, Comet. Rosenstein wanted Comey gone, and then when Comey was gone, Rosenstein pitched a fit about it. But it was Rosenstein's idea. You are right. You are so right. You are alt-right, buddy. That's going to be like my new thing. You are so right. You're alt-right. That's almost as good as I'm not just sure I'm HIV positive. It's one of the greatest lines of all time. Are you sure? I'm not just sure I'm HIV positive.
I'm not holding my phone. Oh, jeez. Holy crap. That's not even funny. But it is in the context, I guess. I'm gonna retweet it anyway.
God, the kid even lied to police about his cell phone service plan. He tried to claim that he did not have a service plan, that he was Wi-Fi only, but he did have a plan. Talking about the Mishawaka murder.
The kid's 16, right? And the girl was 17? That's what it was.
So they returned to the alley behind Brianna's home. They located glasses and a stocking cap that matched those described as Brianna's by her mother. There was apparent blood on the hat. The area was immediately sealed off, and more officers were called to help secure the scene and search for evidence. This is after they've gone to the boyfriend's house a couple of times and asked if she had shown up. They located more blood, and a thorough search of the area revealed a deceased female subsequently identified as Brianna. She had a black plastic garbage bag been placed over her head and upper torso.
Hello. All right, I will inform him. No problem. John just posted on the website a full article with all the details that we have. I don't know if that's what you're reading right now or not.
I'm just reading the court docs right now.
Okay. Well, the top story on the website right now is what we have and everything that we have, full details. It's the top story on the website right now. So if you want to use that, that'd be good.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Once again, I want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. And if you are looking for a league to participate in, I mean, owning a gun is great. Going and shooting is great. But, a little friendly competition that also helps develop your skills and with like-minded people, that is a blast. So they've got these amazing leagues, which are, again, they're open pistol leagues, co-ed, defensive. They're weekly on Thursdays. You can go to secondamendmentarms.net, learn more about that. 574-2595, 95.3. That's 2595-953. If you go to 953mnc.com right now, our featured story is the latest updates on the murder of this young lady in Mishawaka. And the boyfriend has been arrested, charged with murder. He has basically admitted to it. I've been looking at the court documents and going through everything, and it's, I mean, honestly, it's, you can tell you're dealing with a young mind in the boyfriend. You can tell that you're dealing with a young mind. At one point, when they're trying to evaluate text messages, because they went to his house a couple of times after the girl's mom contacted authorities, said, hey, she didn't come home. Mom went over to his house. No, she didn't come here. Police are now involved. They go to the house. He gives them a story about how they're supposed to meet up, but she never showed. They talked about text messages, asked if they could see his phone. He said he didn't have a cell phone planned, Wi-Fi only, but he did have a cell phone plan. I mean, just things like that. They eventually found a scarf and other clothing that matched descriptions of what Brianna was wearing when she disappeared, and they had blood on some of them. So they sealed off the area. They found more blood. Eventually, a search found her body. She was put in a dumpster. She had a garbage bag over the upper half of her torso. She had been stabbed to death. She had also, her scarf had been tied around her neck so tight that strangulation was happening before she died, they said. Brutal, horrific murder. And all because she was 6 months pregnant with his child, and he felt that she had waited too long to tell him so that she could not get an abortion. And he was angry about it. So if you go to 953mnc.com, 16-year-old boy investigators say killed Brianna Rauschling has been charged with 1 count of murder, 1 count of feticide. Aaron Trejo was ordered held without bond. He was arrested Sunday, December 9th. He was booked in St. Joseph County Jail, where he remains in custody. He's scheduled to appear before the St. Joseph County Superior Court magistrate at 1 p.m. tomorrow for his arraignment. According to court documents, Rauschling went behind the house to talk to Trejo around 11 p.m. on Saturday. She did not return. She was reported missing to police. Rauschling's mother went to Trejo's home the next day looking for her daughter. He told her that he had gone to meet her, but she never showed up. Police found glasses and a stocking cap that her mother described to police. They found blood on the cap. The police found more blood in the area. That led police to the dumpster where they found her body. A plastic bag was placed over her head and upper torso. Then when she was found, according to court documents, they didn't move this until they obviously got forensics teams in there. And so it took some time for them to identify who she was. Trejo told police that he was the father of her unborn child and that the two of them had gotten into a fight about the pregnancy, and said that she had waited too long to get an abortion. He then admitted to stabbing her in the chest with a knife that he took from his home, believing that it would kill her quickly. He said that he also brought a bag and placed over her body from home as well. He told investigators that he had been thinking and planning about killing her for about a week and had not told anybody. He also told them that after he put her body in the dumpster, he walked to the river and threw her phone and the knife as far as he could into the water. According to the autopsy, Rauschling died from multiple stab wounds, and that her scarf had been tied so tightly that strangulation was occurring before she died. The autopsy also confirmed that she was indeed pregnant. So, a horrific crime involving 2 young people in our community over a pregnancy, and he was upset that his actions with her would ruin his life, I guess. He doesn't go into great detail about that, but obviously he wanted her to have an abortion. She waited to tell him. She was 6 months pregnant. Perhaps she waited to tell him this because she knew what he would say. I'm sure that, I'm purely speculating here, but I would assume that a conversation like this has probably come up. She probably dropped some hints to figure out how he would react if that were to be the case and that sort of thing. And so she waited until she couldn't be pressured to do it. And as a result of this, he was angry and plotted to kill her for a week and didn't tell anybody about it. So right now, this is the big concern that a lot of people had. You know, obviously this is a football player, and people start to wonder if other people are going to be involved. Did anybody help him? Were those football players? Who were they? That sort of thing. And at this point in time, it appears to be that he acted alone. And he's the stunning aspect of this is that he appeared to be worried that his life was ruined as a result of this pregnancy, and then he proceeded to ruin not just his life, but the lives of everybody attached to both of them. Her family, his family, their friends, his team. He's caused tremendous damage to all of these people that are now around them. And all because he was afraid that his life was going to get messed up because she was going to have his child. And here he is messing it up, actually messing it up instead of it potentially turning into a blessing. Who knows? Just absolutely horrific. Heart goes out to the family. I hate having to cover these things with some of the details that have to come out because I know that there's people that probably know them that are listening. And, you know, it's part of my job. It's not pleasant. It's not fun to do. Just know that. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. We have more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
KC Hendrickson, News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Let me ask real quick. I have a father, the father of the girl who organized the walkout for mourning today on the line. Do you want to talk to him?
Sure. Yeah,
we
got a couple minutes.
Can I get your name, please? William? All right. I will get you on there. No problem. I didn't know if you were taking calls or not, so I was just...
Yeah, I'll take call on it.
I was like, I don't really think so. I was like, well, what do you have?
So, I mean, did he say anything specific in addition to...
He said that he had like a weigh in with like how it affected and everything.
Sure. And so, by all accounts, I mean, they were popular, so...
Any cheerleader football player.
So, yep.
Jeez, I remember in junior year, when we had a girl literally drop dead at work when we found out the next day.
This is a national story. I mean,
yeah,
this story's been picked up by the Miami Herald and CBS and everybody.
News Talk 953. Okay. Okay. Can I get his name, please? Okay. Do you have a name he can go by? So that way, I mean, we can use your name. Your name's already in the system. Does that work? Yep. Okay. That works. Alrighty. See if I can get you on there.
There is what?
I'm Joe.
Oh. There is a GoFundMe, by the way.
Tim is now working full-time at his other job. He comes in on Fridays sometimes. Yes. He works in retail? I think. I don't know where.
No, he's not in retail. He's in the back.
Oh, he works in a warehouse.
He's basically like an assembly manager.
He's an assembly manager, according to Casey. All right. The second caller is a student in Mishawaka. He's using an anonymous name.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to have time for two, but we'll see.
Matt.
Okay.
Go. When you say dependable vehicle, what does that entail?
No kidding.
I'm kind of on Kevin Hart's side. Does he step down because he wanted to? He's like, I've already done everything I need to do with that.
He doesn't, he's done everything he can to stay out of political controversy, and I liked what Nick Cannon did, actually. Nick Cannon went out there and found all of these old homophobic tweets from these celebrities who are like outrage culture people, like Chelsea Handler and all that, and he posted them. Oh, you're throwing him under the bus, but here you go. He's a comedian, dude. It's like...
Yeah.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson, giving you the latest updates in the horrific murder that we had over the weekend here in Mishawaka. Again, a young woman, 6 months pregnant. She's now dead. Her boyfriend is in custody, admitted to killing her in a horrific fashion. Obviously, this is, as the details are coming out, more and more people are getting, I think, rightly upset about this. This was brought up by a listener earlier today, and said there needs to be a GoFundMe. One has been set up, and if you just search for Brianna Rauschling's name on GoFundMe, and I have linked to this on my Facebook page. You go to facebook.com/Casey the host. It will be on my website later. You will be able to go and just click right through to it if you want to contribute. It was, they wanted some donations to cover the cost of the funeral and that sort of thing. It's at $2,265 now. So if you wanted to kick in something, you can. And they have the full story and everything there. All right, to the phone line we go. William, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. What's up?
My daughter is a cheerleader for some newer. She was on the news with her friend. They staged the walkout at 11 o'clock for 6 minutes. It was per the time that she was found, and the 6 minutes was the 6 months of her being pregnant. My son kind of knew him and said it was completely surprising that he would do this. And it kind of leads me to believe that, and of course I could be wrong, that there was someone that helped him because, it doesn't seem fathomable that he would be able to put this girl into a dumpster, regardless of whatever regret he had of the child. It's so close to home. You hear about this stuff, but you never have it happen in your community. It's just horrific.
Yeah, and that was that was a big concern that people had, when this was discovered, and we were talking about it earlier because when we covered it at 3 o'clock, we didn't have all of the additional information. And my news director was like, this makes you wonder if there's somebody else involved now. And I've got friends who have kids on that team. And, now you start getting worried. Oh my God, is this going to impact anybody close to me now? Right. At this point, it doesn't appear to be that way. But
his best friend didn't show up at school today either. So
okay.
Was it because he was being questioned? Was it remorse of, what happened? You of course, your mind wanders. My
Sure.
daughter is, a young girl just like her, and it just, it scares me.
Sure.
you wonder what the heck, and I mean, I couldn't function if something happened to my daughter like this. My heart goes out fully. My daughter and her friends are also putting together bracelets to help raise funds and, of course, donating all of it to their GoFundMe page. So they're doing everything they can, for a friend. And I think it's great that, they, band together. The school didn't, fault anybody for the walkout, which was great. Kids, kind of pulling together. The mother of the girl was there when they did this walkout as well. It was just a good thing.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to do the best that they can out of a bad situation. And, we're linking to the fundraiser too on my Facebook. So, I mean, feel free to, tell people to go there if they need a quick link to it. I mean, whatever you want to do.
Of course.
All right. Hey, William, I appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much.
You have a great day.
All right. You too.
Yes.
All right. We have Randy. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Casey. That's my dad's name, but I'm a student at Mishawaka High School, and even though I personally did not know either of the two people involved, the victim and the murderer, I have a lot of very close friends who were close with both sides, and I just wanted to call in to kind of give you what, the average student's perspective of it is,
Mm-hmm.
And first thing I got to say is condolences to the families and everyone involved. It's just, it's horrible. It was yesterday where it all started where one of her best friends texted me and told me to spread the word that she was missing. And, that's all we thought at first was that she was missing. And it just, it just turned south real quick.
Yeah, today, because we're down to less than a minute. I'm sorry, just on a hard clock here. But today, kind of, with the walkout, did you participate in that? How many students roughly walked out? Or
I didn't. I personally did not participate in the walkout. It was very conflicted with people. Some people did it for condolences, but most people honored her during the Pledge of Allegiance today.
Okay.
And I felt like, because I didn't personally know her as much, I didn't want to look like I was skipping class or anything.
Yeah, sure. I understand.
That's why, but it was just, it's been bad. You don't know what's rumors and what's truth anymore.
Well, and that's just it too. Yeah. And
the whole school is bad. And the one thing I got to say before you cut me off is, I have a lot of friends. I used to be on the football team. I know the managers, the football players.
Yeah. I got to cut you, Randy. I'm sorry. We're just out of time. Thank you for listening, everybody. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Tim O'Hara. I've been at Lock Money Motors for 28 years. I consider myself a family.
Sorry, Randy. I know that's not your real name, but sorry. I had to cut you off. Just a hard break, bud. All right. So I got to go ahead and shut everything down. I've got a school event to get to with my daughter, so I'm going to bounce out of here. And you all have a wonderful night. Thank you again for listening. And if you like the show, click the subscribe button on YouTube, the thumbs up button on either YouTube or Facebook. I really appreciate it. And you all have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow.